And the moon is at a 5 degree, or let me rephrase, the moon's orbit's at a 5 degree tilt from rotating around the Earth. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. The moon's orbit around the Earth is tilted by about 5 degrees relative to the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun. That slight tilt is what leads to the variation in the moon's path in the sky.
So, like, okay, I have noticed, for example, that sometimes the moon sets really, really, really northwest and then almost due west. And then right now it seems to be setting super, super southwest. What's up with that?
What you're noticing is exactly the result of that orbital tilt and the 18.6-year cycle. Over time, the moon's rising and setting points shift along the horizon. During a major lunar standstill, the moon's extremes are even more noticeable. So it
Do you
can
have
appear.
any graphics to go with this?
I can't share graphics directly in real time, but I can definitely describe how this looks
Okay,
or
yeah,
guide you.
please do. Please describe it. Like in regard to the 18 years and like where the moon would start and then each year and where it would finish.
Sure, imagine a horizon line and the moon rising and setting along it throughout the year. Over the course of that 18.6-year cycle, the moon's rising and setting points slowly shift north and south. During a major lunar standstill, the moon rises at its most northern and most southern points on the horizon, making the extremes very noticeable. Then, over the next 9 years or so, it gradually moves back towards the center, and during a minor standstill, the difference is less extreme. It's like a slow dance along the horizon over nearly 2 decades.
Interesting. So when was the last time this dance of 2 decades took place?
The most recent major lunar standstill started around 2005 to 2006, and the next one is actually happening right now around 2024 to 2025. So we're currently in that phase where the moon is at its most extreme positions on the horizon.
Okay, what years was it before 2005 to 6?
The major lunar standstill before 2005, 2006 would have been around 1986 to 1987. It's pretty cool to see how these cycles repeat through the decades.
Okay. And like so what where was the moon setting in 1980?
In 1980, the moon would have been closer to what we call a minor lunar standstill, which means its rising and setting points on the horizon were less extreme. So compared to now, the moon's path would have been more centralized and it wouldn't have appeared as far north or south when it rose or set.
So it would seem like it was rising and setting east, due west. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. During a minor lunar standstill, the moon's rising and setting points are closer to the east and west points on the horizon. So you wouldn't see those really extreme north or south positions. It would feel more balanced and central.
So you get like 9 years of it being east to west, and then 9 years or 4.5 of north and 4.5 of south, or what?
Yeah, you can think of it as roughly a cycle where over about 9 years, the moon shifts from more central rising and setting points towards those extremes and then back again over the next 9 years. So it's a gradual shift over that 18.6-year period with the extremes happening at the major standstill in the middle of that cycle.
Okay. And then what was the major thing moon stand still before 80?
The major lunar standstill before the 1980s would have been around 1961 to 1962. So every couple of decades, we get this repeating pattern, and it's fascinating to see how it all lines up over time.
What years before? Go ahead and give me the last 5 years prior to 61 and 62.
Sure, if we go back in roughly 18.6-year increments from 1961 and 1962, the previous major lunar standstills would have been around 1942, 1943, then around 1924, 1925, and before that, around 1905, 1906. It's like a repeating cosmic pattern every couple of decades.
Really? Okay, so like that's why you said that we had it in. Okay, so let me see if I got this. 1905, 1906. When was the one before 1905?
Continuing that pattern back, the major lunar standstill before 1905, 1906 would have been around 1886 to 1887. So you're definitely getting the hang of it. It's like a
Wait, repeat
regular.
that. 18 what? 86 to 87?
Yes, that's right. The major lunar standstill before 1905, 1906 would have been around 1886 to 1887.
Which one would have been before that?
Following that same pattern, the major lunar standstill before 1886 to 1887 would have occurred around 1867 to 1868. It's fascinating how consistent this cycle is over the years.
No, before that. Okay, let's go back to like, say, 1700. Give me all of them, please.
Absolutely. If we keep going back in roughly 18.6 year increments from the 1800s, we'd have around 1848, 1849, around 1830, 1831, around 1811, 1812, around 1792, 1793, around 1773, 1774,
Hang
around
on.
17.
Hang on, you're going too fast. So I heard 1811 and 1812. And then what was after that?
After 1811, 1812, the previous major lunar standstill would have been around 1792 to 1793. So it's a consistent pattern that goes all the way back.
Okay, and then let's go back to Columbus days. Go ahead.
All right, continuing back through history, before 1792, 1793, we'd have around 1773, 1774, then around 1755, 1756, and continuing further back, we'd reach around 1492, 1493, which is right around Columbus's era.
Isn't that something? And then, okay, well, what would be after Columbus's era?
After Columbus's era, which was around 1492, 1493, the next major lunar standstill would have been around 1511, 1512. It's amazing how this cycle just
Okay,
continues to.
tell me the next dates. 15 what?
Sure, after 1511, 1512, the next major lunar standstill would have been around 1529, 1530, and then around 1548, 1549. It's really like clockwork,
Go
repeating
ahead.
every 18.
Go, I know, but I'm slow, so just tell me the 1600 dates.
No worries at all. For the 1600s, the major lunar standstills would have been around 1605 to 1606, then around 1624 to 1625, 1642 to 1643, 6061 to 6062, and 67 to 1980. That covers the 17th century.
Okay, yeah, no, it does. And then what? It does. Definitely does. Now, it's interesting to me. So, what year did the United States become a country?
The United States declared its independence in 1776, and then it officially became a country after the Revolutionary War with the Treaty of Paris in 1783.
1783. So, where was the lunar standstill in 17, whatever you just said? 83?
In 1783, the moon would have been somewhere in between the major lunar standstill cycles. The closest major standstill to that date would have been around 1773 to 1774, and the next one after that would have been around 1792 to 1793. So in 1783, the moon's positions on the horizon would have been more moderate, not at its most extreme points.
And then in 1792, 93, where was it at?
In 1792 to 1793, the moon would have been at a major lunar standstill, which means it would have been at its most extreme positions on the horizon when rising and setting. So it would have appeared either farthest north or far.
You don't know if it was farther north or farther south?
It,
I'm sorry? Did I lose you? So, interestingly, over those years, like, I feel like something major happened in 1986, 98, 1987. What was going down major that year? Can you talk to me so I can hear you? So I can hear you, but I like being able to see what you're saying too. Okay, so matter of fact, why don't we do this? Why don't we go back to the say let's go over the major lunar standstills and what happened on those dates.
that sounds like a fun journey. Each major lunar standstill definitely has its own historical context. If we go back through the cycles, we can definitely find interesting events that align with those years.
So,
If there's a specific standstill year you're curious about, I can definitely dig into what was happening around that time.
what was happening in 1792, 93?
Between 1792 and 1793, there was some major historical events, especially in France. This period was right in the heart of the French Revolution. In August of 1792, revolutionaries stormed the Tuileries Palace, which led to the abolition of the monarchy and the establishment of the French Republic. Then, in January of 1793, King Louis XVI was tried and executed.
Okay, hold up. Do you know if it's raining in Tampa, Florida?
No.
I just asked him a question. Can't
It
run.
is freezing.
No, I was talking to the chat GPT. It's crazy looking though out here. Whoa. Yeah, it was supposed to come a little bit ago before this happened, but apparently that did not happen. But the sun was all what have you, and this is what we got here. Curious to what the rain's doing. Ugh. So we got the rainbow before the rain. Hours and hours and hours before we got the rain.